Well, as you just seen, these inmates may be locked in, but specialized job training can help to keep them from being locked out of the outside world once they're back in society. Now, R. Keith Smith joins us now to walk us through a program to help keep these inmates stay on the straight and narrow.
Rob, Career Tech Skill Centers have offered training to inmates for over 3 decades now, training in everything from construction trades to computer technology in nearly 24 facilities across Oklahoma. Let's take a look at this. It's an effort to help keep the prison gate from becoming a revolving door, and it's really making a dramatic difference. Here's what they're seeing. Nationally, statistics show that after serving time, 2 out of 3 will be rearrested within just a few years. Just by going through a program at one of the skill centers, the rate of returning to prison drops over 9%.
So it sounds like, Keith, at least hopefully we are providing an avenue for these people to stay on the straight and narrow.
And that's only part of the value. If you think about it, it costs over $20,000 to keep a person in prison for just a year. That's a huge taxpayer expense.
Now, we both had the opportunity to meet a number of these inmates as they were working on the set around us. And I believe what viewers really need to know is that one thing seems to tie most all of these inmates together, and that is some form of drug addiction. Now, as you know, nearly 40% of all the inmates in our prisons are in there for some type of drug-related crime. But once you start visiting with these guys, you understand that somehow drugs are tied to them being there, no matter what they did and how they got there.
Rob, that's right. If there's a path that leads to prison, drugs would most certainly be on it. Many have battled or continue to battle an addiction. The 2 men you're about to meet are serving sentences that will keep them behind bars for most of their adult lives. They are Vincent Ross and Justin Gore. It's life in Lexington and the long, at times lonely road in search of redemption.
Usually I wake up about anywhere between 4:30 and 5. Not a day goes by that I don't think about it. Not one day, not 1 hour, not even hardly a minute goes by that I don't think about what I did. And I'll come up for parole the first time in 2034.
October 14th, 2002. I just turned 20 years old. I walked into granite behind the wall and I thought, you know, I'd made I guess, the big time or whatever, you know, I knew I'd messed up. I knew I'd messed up bad.
The time for the crime may not be on a drug charge, but it's a start to understanding the beginning.
My drug of choice was cocaine, crack cocaine specifically. You know, go out and get high for a couple of days, then be straight for a couple of months. It continues to get worse, it snowballs, and the longer it goes, the bigger it gets. I've had many opportunities for help, but I didn't have the fortitude within myself to accept the help that was available. There comes a point where in my inner self where I feel like I gave up on the struggle. I gave up on the struggle and let addiction just have its way. I never would have dreamed that I would ever be capable of robbing anybody. But then that addiction was so powerful that all the other means were gone, and the thought entered my mind, well, I'm out of money, I can just take somebody else's.
I mean, I saw it as a danger.
Something that had gone off moments before pulling the trigger.
I saw the way that he threatened my mom, and I saw it as life-threatening danger, but if I had time to reflect, and like I think now, I probably would have cooled down and realized that the situation could have been handled differently, and I would have stopped it before it got started, you know, changed things. And there's no excuse to ever kill anybody unless they've got you at gunpoint.
What I did in order to commit these robberies is I portrayed like I had a weapon. The very first robbery I committed was a Subway sandwich shop. And I remember getting to the point of actually going up to the counter and trying to develop the courage, which it wasn't courage, it was just stupidity, to actually follow through with the intent of robbery. And I remember thinking to myself at that time, okay, I can just turn around and walk away. But I didn't do it. I actually followed through. I would say 95% of the people that are incarcerated are here because of drugs, and the system doesn't do enough.
It's over 5 years now I've been clean of meth. And I'm still picking the pieces up every day.
The power of addiction, that's real prison. That's bondage. This isn't bondage, this is confinement.
This isn't a lifestyle that I'd recommend to anybody. You make the best out of it because you have to.
Expanding the mind behind prison walls has been an education all its own.
This career tech here at Lexington, I started learning things and studying a little. Then I got into the AutoCAD, and that kind of got me thinking, and it made me remember somebody a long time ago that was intelligent. I'm now a member of Delta Epsilon Tau National Honor Society because I got a 4.0. I enjoy studying, the math and the physics, starting with your calculus and your differential equations and stuff. I'm a hard worker. I'm determined. I'll figure it out. Once I get going, my mind goes to a different place, and I feel like I'm connected through, all the way back from Babylonians. I feel like I'm a part of the world. I'm a part of history, what gravity is and what it is capable of, and I like the theoretical side of it. I'm working on I'm thinking a bachelor's in math.
I'm able to have some semblance of a normal life. I have a job that I go to Monday through Friday and work a set amount of hours, and I have something that I can take pride in, a craft that I've learned since I've been here, and it gives me a sense of pride, a sense of belonging. I come up here and I'm not a number anymore.
I know that times are tough and the budget's tough and nobody's wanting to pick up the bill for crooks, the criminals and stuff. But those people are coming back to society. One day they're going to come back to society. They're going to bring the experiences that they've had in this place back to the street.
What may seem important right now in somebody's life, going on in somebody's life, in the big picture really it doesn't amount to anything at all. A job doesn't make a person. How much money you make doesn't matter. What matters is relationships. What matters is your family, your children. Dustin and Audrey, they're beautiful. They're so wonderful.
I miss my family a lot, and that means the world to me. It's one of the reasons I keep going.
I've had a chance to talk to them, and I have been nothing less than honest with them about everything, how I got to this point. Because there's no way to sugarcoat it. You can't sugarcoat it. Dad's in prison for a long time because of what he did. You have a different mindset according to what the length of a sentence is. Myself, I know that I could very well spend the rest of my natural life here. So my mindset is probably different than somebody else's who's going to be here for 2, 5 years, or even 10 years.
Say they wanted you to do 10 years straight. That's a whole decade of time. What goes on in a decade? Newton invented calculus one summer, and I don't think people comprehend just how long that is.
So Keith, what happens from here?
Well, they both fall under the 85% rule. That means they're not eligible for parole until they serve 85% of their sentence. In their cases, that'll be 30 years.
Yet they surprisingly seem to have very good attitudes.
Justin's an absolute math whiz. He's taking calculus classes. He's got his associate's degree. He's going for more. And Vincent, he's just found himself. He's found faith. He's found his children again, and all this after getting off drugs.
So if Vince and Justin aren't scheduled to get out of prison until somewhere, 2040, how do they apply the skills they've learned in the Skills Center?
The Department of Corrections runs its own manufacturing industry that provides almost all of the office furniture in state offices. So once fully trained, it's likely they will both make their contribution to society by saving tax dollars that state agencies spend on everything from chairs to desks.
Well, I don't know about you, Keith, but meeting those in prison certainly gives you a whole new perspective.
It does. It makes you think.